all renovations are the same, and not all of them pay off. We'll break down which ones give you the best return on investment and which ones you could probably prolong if needed to. Welcome to Homegrown Wealth, where I teach you how to use home ownership to build wealth. In today's episode, we're going to discuss renovations. Which ones make sense, which ones don't, which ones should you do it yourself, and which ones should you hire a professional for. It's good to keep your house well maintained. So that means staying on top of the maintenance. So if you have a pipe that's leaking, it's best to go ahead and take care of it to either replace it or get it repaired. So that way it doesn't cause more damage to anything near it, such as wood or electrical, because of the water dripping from it. Also, like, hey, maybe you just need a new HVAC system because yours is on its way out or it's on its last leg. So simple things to go a long way. So, if you have dings on the wall, if you have some holes, doing some patch with sheetrock, making sure that, paint chips or, if it does need to be painted, those things are kept up as well too. Updating light fixtures. I think that's like one of the most underrated things that people do not take advantage of when it comes to making their home look a lot newer than what it is. And those are some small things as far as like paint, updating light fixtures, even changing out your sockets from beige to white, that are literally weekend projects that you can knock out and do. So I always tell people this first. If you really want the most value for your home, make sure the maintenance is up to par before you focus on the cosmetic. Let's talk about what pays off, what renovations make sense to do. Now, this is what I tell people. Also consider the time length that you will be in the home. If you know you're probably going to be in a home, 5 years or less, does it make sense to do a kitchen remodel or a renovation? No. Maybe paint the cabinets, maybe change out the hardware on the cabinets, something that can kind of give it more like an instant facelift versus trying to completely redo the kitchen. But the kitchen is like one of the major payoffs when it comes to renovations. Your kitchen, your primary bathroom, any other bathroom in the home, and landscaping are like the three big things that buyers focus on. I'm gonna tell you, if I put a home up for sale and the kitchen is updated, if the bathroom is updated, it's gonna go. I don't have to question it. People are walking in, buyers are saying, hey, I can literally move in. I don't have to do or plan in the future for a kitchen renovation or a bathroom renovation. It's already done. At best, I can just change paint colors to my preference. They love that. Landscaping. I know a lot of people think like, oh gosh, does the yard really matter? It does, because most people want that space. They want to be outside. They want to enjoy. If you have an overgrown backyard, if you have a lot of weeds, a lot of bushes, if it just looks like you have neglected your backyard, even though you may not think that's expensive, it is expensive because it takes people going out and getting that back right. And it's manual labor, so you're going to pay for that. So keeping it up, keeping your lawn manicured. If you don't like bushes, just go ahead and take them up, put down some nice mulch, pine straw or something of that nature, and just have a nice simple yard. But landscaping is really, really big when it comes to selling your home. So let's talk about what does not pay off when it comes to selling your home. And the first thing I'm going to say, everybody's going to be so shocked by. I had a past buyer who is looking to sell soon install a pool. And he installed a really nice pool. It was a $70,000 pool. Well, the thing is, he's been in the home now for maybe 2.5, 3 years. The intention was never to sell the home. It was going to be new area, solid job. I'm going to be here for a while. Well, things happen, lives happen, so now he needs to sell the home because he's going to be moving some states over. Well, I can't say that the $70,000 is just going to be able to be added to the sales price because the comps don't reflect that for the neighborhood. Pools are personal preference. That's what I tell everyone. You have some people who want a pool, they enjoy it, they see the value in it. Then you have some people who just look at it as a money pit. It's something I have to keep up. It's something that I have to open. It's something I have to close. It requires weekly maintenance. When we're using it in the summertime, all those good things. So then you have people who say, I may not want it. So I always say, if you're going to put a pool in, just know it's for your personal experience. It's for your personal benefit, for you, for your family. Pay attention to what the sales prices are in the area, what the values are, to where if you think you're going to possibly sell anytime in the near future, will you be able to equal out the money that you spent out to get that pool? That's legitimately all I can say about that. Most appraisers are probably going to give you maybe an eighth of what a pool is worth, because once again, they do say it's really about personal preference on whether or not someone wants one in their backyard. The second one is a deck. I get this one a lot too. I have sold homes with some fabulous decks. I mean, they're decks that you want to sit outside, you want to have parties on, you want to cook out. They're nice. And once again, it's a personal preference. It's not something that is going to say, hey, if that deck costs you, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000 to build, I can't necessarily say I'm just going to be able to add on $40,000 to the sales price to justify what you paid in that deck. So you have to take all things into account when looking to make major changes to your home in that way, on whether or not you're going to be there long enough for this to make sense. And this one is my personal preference, what I can't stand. And that's when people convert their garage into like an extra living room or a living space. Me personally, I want a space I can pull my car into. So if it's raining or anything like that, I don't have to get wet. It's able to store extra items that we may not want to keep inside the house. I personally prefer a garage. Now, you have some people who do not prefer a garage. They are totally fine with that. But I think that it kind of backfires sometimes when people convert a garage into an extra living space, because if the majority of the homes in the subdivision have a 2-car garage and yours does not, yeah, it's hard to justify that if there's another one around the corner up for sale with a 2-car garage. So, and let me say this tidbit too when it comes to converting a 2-car garage into like an extra living space, or any garage or carport. If you do not run HVAC to that area, if you put in a mini split system or if you have a window unit, it will not count as heated and cooling living space when it comes to an appraiser. That's just the extra room. I can't put value on that space. So if you're not going to run the HVAC, if they tell you, hey, we can convert the garage, it's going to be an additional $5,000 to run some vents for the HVAC unit. If you're not willing to put up that $5,000, just know in the future that space is probably going to be considered more like a basement, which is like half the value of the regular square footage of the home. So keep that in mind, but I say leave them alone. Let it be a garage. Solar panels. I cannot. I sold a home with solar panels. They were paid off, thank goodness. Solar panels have become an issue lately because people get solar panels in their home and on their home, And what happens is they're still paying on them. So then you get a buyer who likes your home. They want to go under contract with your home. Well, not only do they have to qualify for the home loan, they also have to qualify and have room in their debt to income ratio to take over whatever balance you have left with the solar panels. It has become an issue since solar panels have become on the rise. And I would say too, just do your research before you get into solar panels. Sometimes they pay off. Usually it takes a few years for that to happen for you to see a difference in your power bill. But just be aware of that. So if this is not like forever, maybe kind of just, weigh the cons and the pros on that. These are items I think that are totally do-it-yourself, save some money, weekend projects, maybe a week project. Painting. Painting is not a hard skill, but it is a skill. It is something that I would tell you to research, but painting can save you so much money doing it yourself, but it does put a lot of value back into your home. Fresh paint just does wonders, especially if it's the newer neutral paint colors or whatever the paint scheme is at the current time you're looking to possibly sell your home. Light fixtures and outlets. Light fixtures, like I said before, are very underrated in helping you to give an instant facelift to your house. When I moved into my house, I wasn't able to just remodel the kitchen or the bathrooms right away. But what we did do, we scraped all the popcorn ceilings. I'm talking about from the second floor to the first floor, all over, everywhere. No more popcorn ceilings. Painted them a smooth white. We repainted the kitchen cabinets. The hardware wasn't bad, so we kept the hardware on them. I removed every light fixture in the home and replaced it with something newer. And when I say it brought the house up to date, it brought the house up to date. My house was built in '88. And when I say that it brought my house into the 2000s, because that house still looked like '88. So when I say paint new light fixtures and switching out light switches and sockets, they go a long way. Don't underestimate the value of paint and light fixtures. Doorknobs. That is another one too. I think now that brass is coming back, but it's coming back as more of a satin finish and not a shiny finish like back in the 90s and the early 2000s. So yeah, those kind of things is small, but they date your home. Landscaping, so some landscaping. So let's say if you just need to cut some shrubs, trim your hedges, cut the grass, plant some flowers, things like that can be done yourself. Now, if you need a French drain, please call a professional. That's not something that you should probably do if you're not aware on how to do it. If you need to create some type of retaining wall or something to kind of keep water from, coming around your home, let a professional handle that. Some of the bigger things, it's just best to let a professional take care of. Deep cleans and decluttering, you can definitely do that yourself. Oh my goodness, y'all, there are so many videos on like TikTok and YouTube on how to clean or organize. Call me. I love to clean and organize. I usually throw everything out. If it doesn't serve a purpose, if it hasn't been used in the last 6 months to a year, it's gone. It's no need to keep it. Donate it, put it in the trash. Now, things that I think that you need a professional for, anything dealing with structure. If you're taking down a load-bearing wall, if you're wanting to resituate your bathroom, if we're looking at, swapping out, a doorway and moving it down a little bit, get a licensed builder. You can get a licensed residential builder, or they have what they call a general contractor, which is technically a licensed builder, but it's just a little bit difference in scopes of work. Another one. So anything dealing with plumbing, call a plumber. If you have never replaced a toilet, a whole toilet, call a plumber. Anything dealing with pipes and how to rerun them up under the home. I've seen where people have remodeled a bathroom and need to put a pipe somewhere and they literally cut into the wood. You cannot cut into a structure. Please call someone who is aware of how to properly do that. And anything electrical, if it's a light fixture or a ceiling fan, that is something that you can go on YouTube, you can learn how to do. If it requires a little bit more in-depth, I would say definitely call an electrician out. If it's a little bit higher up, I had a light in my kitchen that legitly went really further into the attic area. So I got an electrician out because it was just going to be a little bit more complicated as far as trying to get that installed. So certain things, if you feel like it's just a little bit more intricate than what you can handle, call a professional. That's like my best advice. If your gut says, hey, I may not do this well, or I could cause more damage to my home, call a professional. And special note, please consider when you're doing any type of renovation or remodels or anything like that, please consider the flow of the room when you're renovating. I have been into so many flip homes to where it was redone, but the flow does not make sense. People like to have flow along with their home. It needs to move smoothly from room to room. The transition needs to be very peaceful, very harmonious. It needs to flow. I have seen so many things that have not made sense. You have a bedroom all the way over here by the garage, and they have to trek through the kitchen and the living room to get to the full bathroom to take a shower. That does not make sense. Don't do that. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, our favorite time is questions. So let's see. So first question, my home has a small bathroom that I would like to expand. Should I make the investment or just do a paint refresh? I say call out a contractor, and when I say call a contractor, at least call 2 to 3 and get different quotes and get different opinions on what it would look like to expand. If you are okay with the contractor and the price, go for it. Bathrooms are a big selling point, and if you feel like it needs to be expanded, it probably does, especially if it's an older home. Back in the day, they just didn't think about a bathroom being more of a sanctuary. It was more so use it, get out, and now we're more in depth to stay in longer. I know me, myself, personally, it's nothing to take a 30-minute shower. So my bathroom is my safe haven. It's my place of peace. All right, question number 2. I really want a pool in my yard. How do I determine if it's worth it? So, one, if you live in a community that already has a pool, I wouldn't say necessarily do it unless there was enough space to actually put a pool and still have some yard left over. The pool should never take up your entire backyard, in my personal opinion, because people still want a yard. But I say, hey, get some quotes, get people out, see how much it's going to cost. Look over your budget, see if it's doable. If it's something that you know you're truly going to enjoy, you're going to use, go for it. I can honestly tell you, with having a pool, it definitely brings a party. So, you know, be prepared for people to come over and want to enjoy. Today's history note. So let's take a look back to see when home remodeling became a thing. Because, you know, it was like back in the 80s and the 90s, like home remodel really wasn't a thing. It didn't start really ramping up till maybe about like mid 90s into the early 2000s. So This Old House was a television show that remodeled Victorian homes. It debuted on PBS back in 1979. It was the first of its kind show to be launched on a major network. And then in 1994, HGTV launched. And well, we all know the impact of HGTV and what it's done for homes today in this country. So nowadays, you can't scroll through social media without seeing someone doing a do-it-yourself home renovation or adding a bookcase or building like a fireplace wall with a nice TV mount. So it's everywhere now. What did people do before all this media awareness about remodeling? They just moved into a home and they were happy with it. If they wanted to change some things, they did. But 9 times out of 10 is the reason why you still see a lot of older homes look like the day it was built. People just didn't think it was important to remodel. They didn't really know anything about it. And most people were just content with what they had. So that's your history note. If you're ready to give your home a new feel, go over what your home value is first. It always makes sense to know how much it's going to cost versus what your home is currently worth. Make sure your home is in top health. Make sure all the maintenance is taken care of. Everything is up to par before we jump into cosmetics. I think that I have seen over time where people have spent the money in the wrong place and it has come back to bite them at the time to get ready to sell their home. Focus on small effort updates like painting and cleaning, things that are like just weekend projects that you can do to help give you an instant facelift. Make a list of all the updates that you would like to do, and then start looking for professionals that handle those type of services. And then avoid repairs that do not add value to your property. A lot of times I think people focus on certain things more than others. I remember I had a home that they painted all the bedrooms upstairs, where I think had they just focused on the main living areas on the first floor, it would have went a longer way. And that's why I say always get a professional out and let us tell you that, because what they did do is they just went ahead and did it before they even called me out about selling. I was like, oh, I hate you put the money in the wrong place. But we worked with it. So definitely just make sure that what you're doing is actually going to pay you back in the long run. So I definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to sit with me. Please remember to like and share. If you know someone that is looking to get into the home ownership journey, if you know someone looking to sell and they just have some questions, share this series with them. This is a great series to learn a lot of information. All right, guys, I'll see you at the next episode. Bye.